The Bell Witch, a terrifying story of mystery and hauntings in Tennessee, a calm life on the Bell Farm. Chapter 1. It all started in the sleepy farmland of Adams, Tennessee in the early 1800s. A successful farmer, John Bell had a small but cozy farmhouse with his family. Simple daily tasks, family dinners, and children's laughing characterized farm life. This perfect life was soon devastated by events that no one could explain. The Bell family was unaware that they would play a major role in one of the most well-known hauntings in American history. While examining his cornfields one fall evening in 1817, John Bell noticed an odd animal. The creature had a rabbit's head and a dog's body. John felt uneasy as the monster vanished into the darkness as swiftly as it had emerged. The family soon started to hear odd, unexplained noises coming from all around their house. The family was filled with fear as the scratching and knocking, which had been quite mild at first, became louder every night. They made an effort to ignore it, but they knew deep down that something was seriously wrong. The start of the haunting. The sounds grew louder, reverberating with a supernatural tenacity throughout the house. The whispers followed. Faint voices seemed to permeate the rooms in the middle of night, murmuring incomprehensible phrases. They initially believed it to be the wind or their imagination, but gradually the whispers became more audible and clear enough to give them the chills. Betsy, John Bell's youngest daughter, screamed horribly one night. Something cold and invisible had grabbed her by the wrists and pulled her out of bed. This horrifying entity tormented Betsy for weeks after that, slapping her, ripping her hair, and leaving her with red welts on her flesh. Even though she was only 12, she was the main object of this enigmatic entity's hatred. The Bells were terrified and desperate, so they turned to their neighbors and friends for support. As soon as word got out about the haunting, people started coming to the Bell farm to see for themselves the bizarre happenings. Some guests felt as though they were being grabbed by unseen hands, while others heard the same whispers and left the house, never to be seen again. The Bell Witch. Kate. A loud voice reverberated throughout the home one evening while the Bell family and guests were gathering in their living room. The walls themselves seemed to have come to life, and the voice identified itself as Kate. This being acknowledged that she harbored a strong animosity toward John Bell and declared herself to be a witch. Over time, her voice grew more coherent and clear, and she referred to herself as the Bell Witch. Kate's tone was harsh, derisive, and full of animosity for John. She claimed to have a straightforward goal. She would torture the Bell family until John Bell passed away. In an effort to further agitate the family, the Bell Witch became more audacious every day, occasionally imitating voices, spouting scripture, and even singing hymns. Her voice was also audible to neighbors and guests, which made her presence even more terrifying. John suffered physical harm as a result of Kate's harassment as the weeks stretched into months. He started experiencing odd symptoms, such as weakness, nausea, and vertigo. Even the doctors who examined him were shocked by how quickly his health declined. Although no one knew how, some people thought Kate was poisoning him. The predicament of Betsy. Betsy took the brunt of Kate's blows, but John was her primary target. As Betsy screamed in agony, Kate would laugh uncontrollably, rip her hair, and slap her across the face. The Bell Witch was committed to making Betsy's life a living hell. The creature would sometimes make fun of Betsy for being engaged to Joshua Gardner, her childhood sweetheart, and claim that their union would only result in suffering. Betsy made an effort to resist, but her fatigue and terror increased. She was unable to eat or sleep. She was worn out by the Bell Witch's suffering. Betsy finally broke off her engagement to Joshua in 1820 because she could no longer stand the witch's abuse. The witch had divided the town's residents, who were appalled by the seeming power this invisible force possessed. Some claimed that the Bell family had somehow enraged the spirit realm, while others said it was a curse. The gathering of the community. The Bell Witch gained notoriety in the neighborhood as the haunting intensified. Visitors from nearby towns and even well-known figures visited the Bell farm in the hopes of seeing the paranormal activity. The future President of the United States, General Andrew Jackson, himself paid a visit to the Bell farm. According to local folklore, Jackson and his men were so horrified by Kate's greeting that they promptly departed, promising never to return. Visitors would have a first-hand look at Kate's rage. Some reported to have heard her teasing voice screaming their names, while some had their hair yanked and others slapped. Every encounter cemented the Bell Witch legend, and none was safe. John Bell's death. John Bell's health had deteriorated to a serious condition by 1820. In his last days, Kate frequently laughed and made fun of him, as if she enjoyed his misery. One December morning, John laid in bed unconscious. A tiny bottle filled with an enigmatic dark liquid sat by his side. The witch's voice cackled with delight when the family questioned her, and she said she had given John the poison so she could complete her task. In the days following John's passing, Kate's voice became less frequent, but she still came back sometimes to make fun of the family. She promised to return, but she said she would leave the family alone for a few years. As promised, the Bell Witch reportedly made a brief appearance in 1828 to pay a visit to John Bell Jr. before vanishing again. The Bell Witch's legacy. One of the most persistent myths in America today is the Bell Witch haunting. The Bell Witch story still enthralls audiences more than 200 years later. Still today, people go to the Bell Witch Cave, which is close to the Bell Farm, in the hopes of seeing the notorious ghost. According to locals, Kate's ghost is still around and serves as a reminder of the scary potential of the unknown. Over the years, a number of explanations have been proposed by skeptics, who contend that the events were either a mass hysteria incident or a fake. The quantity of eyewitnesses and the inexplicable happenings, however, raise questions. The Bell Witch, a story of retaliation and the paranormal that has plagued Tennessee and America since the early 1800s, is still an unresolved mystery. In conclusion, the enduring mystery, the Bell Witch case, defies easy explanation and endures as a chilling story of terror, retribution, and the unexplainable. The tale nevertheless begs the issue of what might have led to such unrelenting suffering for an apparently normal family. The story of the Bell Witch's haunting has endured for decades, regardless of whether she was a curse, a vengeful ghost, or something else. It serves as a terrifying reminder that certain mysteries might never be answered.